Hey, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Alexander, and I'm a guitarist, composer, and overall music nerd from Copenhagen, Denmark. And today we're building a clean tone using the Placater Amp and one of my own custom impulse responses. Let's go. Before we dive into the walkthrough of the preset so you can see exactly how I made the tone, I just want to let you know that I run a website called composition101.com. On there, you can pick up my Helix preset bundles, you can pick up my impulse response packs, and my guitar lesson packs as well. And it would be really cool if you would check it out. All of the links are down in the description for you. Also, as with every YouTube video, and I think you know the drill by now, it would be really cool if you would subscribe to the channel and like the video and maybe throw a comment down below. Tell me what kind of tone you want next, or just say hi, or just say if you liked it, or I don't know, say something not so good to me. It happens also, and I'll take it with a grain of salt and laugh. Okay, so that is all. Let's head into Helix Edit and see exactly how I crafted this tone. Alright, so welcome back to Helix Edit. Once again, a fairly simple style clean tone. Same sort of principle as the last video, where I used the Princess, and fairly the same setup as well. But of course, things are a little different when we change the amp around. It's the same sort of principle that I like this to be a sort of basis or sort of foundation preset for whatever you might come up with. So if you have a good source tone, you have you're playing good. It's the first most important step. But you have an amp that you like, you have a good cab or a good impulse response. You can basically build everything you want around that, right? So this is sort of the foundational clean tone. It might as well be a ambient lead tone, a more sort of pushed clean, a crunch tone, a lead tone, whatever you want it to be, right? But let's just dive right into it. The meat and potatoes of the preset, of course, the Placater Clean or the Friedman Cleat channel. I love this amp. I did a high gain tone on the Placater Dirty, the Dirty channel or the distortion channel. A while back. You can check that video out if you like. Maybe it will pop up here if I remember. But feel free to check that out. There's free IR with that video as well. And in my opinion, it ended up sounding really cool. So here you can steal the settings, of course, as with the previous video as well. We are going for a clean tone, of course. So the rebel and the sag and stuff like that is left on because we want those kind of imperfections, and we don't have a hum parameter on this particular amp, but usually we want those kind of things when building a clean tone, because it makes it feel more alive, it sounds more full, right? And with high gain tones and rhythm tones and stuff like that that need to be tight and with no noise and stuff like that, we of course remove all of those things, right? Okay, so these are the settings. I like the bright switch to be on 2. I usually prefer brighter tones. It works well in band context and stuff like that as well. Yes, steal the settings from here. Then we are using an IR. And this IR is also from my my upcoming pack. I'm gonna do a sort of rock and blues pack. Hopefully it has come out when I release this video. It would make a lot of sense. Maybe I even make the box appear on the screen or something like that. But this is Rock Cab 5. It is, I don't exactly remember. I think it's a Marshall cab as well. For this particular tone, it would make sense with sort of Friedman amp, but I actually don't remember, which is fairly embarrassing. All right, fairly standard, low cut at 100, high cut at 10K. So that is the source, the main source of the tone. I have the input gate ons, default settings, minus 48 dB and 500 milliseconds. Okay, same principle as I usually do. I have a sort of DI processing or preamp processing. We have a parametric EQ and we have the compressor. The distortion pedal we'll talk about in the end. Then after the amp, the post-processing or post-amp processing, we have a parametric EQ, another one that does a very different job than the first. We have some delay and we have some reverb if we want that. Okay, so first of all, this is the without anything, basically just the amp and the cab. fairly standard, right? Then I have this sort of DI processing, or at least I took the idea from that approach to EQ and whatever you want to do, process your DI before it even hits the amp, to sort of already there start to clean up what frequencies do we like, what do we want more of, and it ended in this fairly extreme EQ, pre-EQ, right? But it makes a world of difference in my opinion. Right? So you can of course deal the settings here. You could also tweak them to your own liking. Then we have a compressor. Right. Does a pretty bit of heavy lifting here, right? Especially with that high end, seems kind of all over the place. The brightness is a bit sort of it's poking out a bit too much for my liking as well. Compressor fixes that right up. After the amp, we have this secondary parametric EQ. Right. So I have this metaphor that I talked about last time as well, I know, that sort of brings the tone into the light, right? And mostly this is done by boosting the metric frequency 8K. Works for vocals and certainly also works for guitar in some instances, right? So we remove a bit of through the DI processing as well, of course. We get sort of the low end and the muddy frequencies under control, and then we boost some of the things that we do want, 8K for example, right? And boost a bit of a 200 as well, which is fairly low, but it works out nicely in the end, right? Okay, so that's the sort of foundation of the tone, in my opinion. Then of course it's super dry like last time as well. Sounds a bit boring, right? So we can add the dynamic room yet again. One of my favorite reverb pedals. So we get that kind of nice amp in the room sound, makes great for soloing as well. Right? Okay, so if we consider this our basis or our foundation, then we could easily throw a drive pedal on it. In this case is the heir apparent, and we could throw the transistor tape on as well, and we would get a sort of nice crunchy sort of lead tone thing, right? Right. Just to say, it doesn't take much to process the tone further, take it where you want. If we now I have made it one line, of course, or one signal path to cater to the HX Stomp people as well and stuff like that. You could use your favorite drive pedal. You could use different effects, different reverbs and stuff like that. Make it ambient, sort of a crunch tone, stuff like that, right? Crank the drive on the amp a little more, and maybe use a different drive. You'll get a sort of rhythm tone, maybe, right? Or a sort of rock rhythm tone at least. The imagination is the only thing that sets the sort of boundaries for this kind of stuff, and it's just good to have sort of the foundation in place, and I hope that I help you with that. Thank you for watching.